that showing? But oh, it's books.
Oh, yeah. Occasionally, reality slips through your little mask there.
Yeah. I guess I could still. Now that I've got my desk in place and I had all this crap all over the floor and everything.
Yeah.
But now I have drawers, so I put everything in drawers and organized. So now it's time for me to work on my background.
Yeah. And get an
It is
anchor
time.
for that bookshelf.
Yeah, probably. Maybe move it to one side. I don't know.
Yeah.
I have an anchor. I just need to use it. It came with an anchor.
Oh.
I just haven't installed it yet. So it wouldn't be that hard. Actually, no. The problem is I don't have a drill.
You don't have a drill? Why don't you have a drill?
I don't know. I just don't. I can go get one. It's not that hard. It's not that expensive.
No, dude. A good drill is not that expensive. Or well, a decent drill is not that expensive. The good ones are pretty expensive.
Yeah. I got I have a toolbox with screwdrivers and such. I can't even open this thing. But nope, I gotta get a drill because I gotta put this
Are they bolts?
drywall anchor.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's a drywall anchor, and then just a very long screw that goes in. And then
Yeah, if it was
hook
just
this
a
up.
screw, it's like you could just use some elbow grease to get that in there. But if you got an anchor as well, yeah.
Yeah, I could, but I would need to find a joist or whatever. I think, or else it'll just pop right out of the drywall, probably. So, I could try
Maybe
that.
like
I could
a
just
support beam.
Yeah, it actually would be cheaper to find a what do you call it? A joist finder or whatever.
Mm.
One of those things that pings and tells you where the wood is. Anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, welcome to
Coming
the Vomitorium
up.
Weekday show for the 7th of October, 2021. As always, I'm your host, The Metal, and joining me is my co-host, Marsupial Gamer. How you doing today?
Great.
Yeah. So we've got some sad news to start things off with.
Yeah.
You want to know what this sad news is?
What's that?
And it's going to explain the music choice for today.
I didn't know if you wanted me to.
No,
tell my
this is
story,
different sad
Oh,
news.
okay.
Koichi Sugiyama died. Which, if you don't know that guy by name, he was 90, and he is the composer for the Dragon Quest franchise.
No.
Like the entire franchise, he's basically still doing stuff.
He was.
Yeah, so like all of the classic, like the ones that us in the States we would know as Dragon Warriors 1 through 4, all the way to the modern Dragon Quest. He was a very, very beloved composer too. Even Nobuo Uematsu considered him the final boss of video game composition. It was somebody he looked up to. Personally, I always thought Uematsu was a better composer, but it's kind of like one of those cases is like Sugiyama walked so Uematsu could run and stuff like that, right? Like you could say Bach was a great composer, but what would he be without the influences that he had? Sugiyama was great. Like I love the Dragon Quest music. So today, in honor of him, I only have 7 remixes that I can use, but on repeat, we're just going to listen to that same 29 minutes worth of music. You won't even notice it's there.
Yeah. I was wondering, I thought it sounded a little bit different from your usual fare.
Yeah.
But,
usually I have like a bunch of different video game stuff on shuffle. This is strictly just Dragon Quest remixes today.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting is that they, unlike Final Fantasy, Dragon Quest series had basically the same music in every game, and now they would add to it.
Yeah.
But like as they'd add compositions, they would include those in the next game, and the next game, and the next game. And so it's a very, very consistent series.
In almost every way.
Yeah. I mean, you hear the same music in Dragon Quest XI that you hear in Dragon Quest One, and some of the same enemies and mechanics and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
I always thought that was interesting. Whereas Final Fantasy, it's like everything's different.
Oh yeah.
The battle
Aside
system
from like
progressed
the,
gradually, but
the fanfare, there were certain things that were the same
Sure.
for a long time, but like
you
Uematsu is very experimental with the music, while like Sugiyama was very progressive. He was also a very classically trained person. Like Uematsu taught himself, while Sugiyama was actually classically trained as like a composer and musician, and like his very his classical traditional background in music is what ended up inspiring a lot of different composers like Uematsu and stuff like that.
Well, it is very orchestral, and you really notice it if you ever play Dragon Quest Builders, especially Dragon Quest Builders 2. All the music, if you're not familiar with it, all the music in Dragon Quest Builders 2 is just Dragon Quest music from previous, mainline games, but it's very orchestral and cinematic. Like you can hear like they did full orchestra, versions of it, especially for that game. I'm sure they did for Dragon Quest 11 too, but I played just a ton of DQB 2, and it's just like the music is unbelievable. It's very classical.
You know what was probably great for him? He only just passed, right? So just before this, he actually got to see some of his music be the lead off in the opening ceremonies for the Tokyo Olympics. So that must have been like a really good like sunset on his career.
Yeah, that's a good way to end it. It's not that sad. I mean, he lived to be 90.
There's a full life right there. This is not a sad moment at all. This is a celebration of a man's career. That's why I'm playing this music in the background. This isn't like one of those like, the dude was 40. He had a good life, but he could have lived longer. It's like, no, this guy had a full life. Who was still very like, I want to say childish in a way, but more like a childlike spirit. He was still very playful to the end of his life. You see him show up in any of like the Dragon Quest, like the reveals and directs and stuff like that, and talking about the music, and like he was like filled with spirit even to the last time we saw him in an interview. So I'm sure like that guy went out without any regrets whatsoever.
Yeah. Well, okay.
Now, if you want to talk about the thing you wanted to talk about now, you can. I just wanted to start the show with that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess it's news. There's not much to say about it, but Asmongold put out a video explaining why he hasn't been live streaming. He hasn't been live streaming for at least a month and a half, but he was planning on coming back before now.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, about a week ago, I think 7 or 8 days ago, his mom blew up.
Yeah.
She's okay, but she was apparently on oxygen, had an oxygen tank nearby, and lit a cigarette, and something exploded very close to her. So I think there must have been a pocket of oxygen. If she had a mask or something, there must have been oxygen built up in it or something.
Yeah.
And a pocket of oxygen blew up. And luckily he was right in the next room, like lying down or something. And he just heard an explosion and some glass shattering. Ran in, she was on fire. The various aspects of the room were on fire. Luckily the tank did not explode. It came close, but he was able to put out the fires before the tank exploded. And then called an ambulance, and she's been in the hospital for the last week having surgery. So apparently it was pretty bad. But
I would assume it was bad.
Yeah, because she was on fire. I mean, so I don't know. I assume she had to have like, skin grafts and that sort of thing. I don't know.
I've been on fire before and didn't need skin grafts, but like it depends how long you're on fire, and also what condition the person's in too, right? Like a young, healthy person with like really like virile skin can be on fire for a little bit without problems, you know, especially if you have layers of clothes in between you. An older person, maybe they have dry skin, they've been in the hospital for a while already. You can't really have fire on you long at all without needing some type of graft or something.
Yeah. So anyway, I mean, he said she's not gonna die right away. So I mean, I guess she's okay as you can be after that. But you know, he said he's gonna go back to streaming, but that was why his return was delayed. But he said he'll be back in the next week or two.
Yeah.
So Godspeed, Asmongold and Asmongold's mom.
Yeah,
hope she's okay.
That actually reminds me of a situation for some reason I was thinking about when you talk about the tank. One day, I think I was, I might have been 16 or 17 at the time, but my mom, my two brothers and I, we were coming back from something. I think we went out to get food at like a fast food place or whatever. And we were coming back. My dad was home. He was drunk. And all of a sudden, on our way back, we see smoke coming like out of the neighborhood. We're like, wait a minute, that location. And then as we pull up, it was coming out of our backyard.
Oh no.
And I immediately run into the house through it. We let the dogs out of the front because we didn't know if the house itself was on fire or not. And this was probably a dumb idea. Like, you probably shouldn't go running into something that you expect to be on fire. But I make it into the backyard, and I see my dad out there. And apparently, like, there was a split in the line of the extension cord that went to our pop-up trailer in the backyard that we kind of just, like, left open at all times as kind of, like, just, like, an escape-away that people can go to. And it set the trailer on fire, and he's out there drunk with a hose, just trying to put the fire out, like that's gonna do anything. And I'm trying to pull him away as the fire department comes like rushing in, because there's a mostly empty, but actually that makes it more dangerous usually when it's mostly empty, propane tank at the front of the frickin' trailer that if the fire had reached it would have exploded, and like frickin' shrapnel would have went everywhere right into his face as he's trying to put out this frickin' fire. And I'm like, what the are you doing back here, man? Such an idiot.
I was trying to remember, there was this incident several years ago. I was at a neighbor's house, and like their lawn caught on fire, and I don't remember what caused it, but it was just like, I guess it was very dry, and I just remember it just kept spreading, and they had a hose out, and obviously they called the fire department, and it was spreading towards their house, and it was spreading towards their wooden fence, and like, you know, a play set in the back they had for their kids. I just remember this. It's one of those weird memories where I remember it happening, but I don't remember many details. But it was like 5 years ago.
Yeah. So here's the thing: were they watering their lawn at all?
Probably not.
No, I actually would think the other way around. So here, like, when you're in like water shortages and stuff, and during the summer, they'll tell you not to water your lawn, right? And one of the reasons is because like grass will naturally go into like a state that conserves water, right? It'll start to yellow out, but it won't. It won't be as flammable. It'll be conserving water. But if you water it every so often, it won't ever go to that state. It'll stay that lush green. But that also means that it's very likely that it'll dry out overnight, and it becomes like really, really flammable then, because you get grass can actually just die instead of receding into that like summer yellow.
Yeah, probably. No, I don't know. I don't think I ever asked or whatever. And obviously they weren't watering it at that time.
Yeah,
but I wouldn't doubt it, because we almost never had water shortages in Nashville.
Oh, okay.
Because, I mean, there's the Cumberland River right there, and there's just, you know, we don't really have, I mean, we'll go a month without rain in the summer, but it's never enough to, like, cause any kind of water shortage. So pretty much everyone waters their lawn.
We did for a little bit, but after a while we just kind of stopped because it rains enough here that it's never a problem really. Or if it is, it's like we didn't care that much about our grass being that dark, lush green. If it yellowed a little bit, that was fine. We really didn't give a shit. And it's not like we had like a homeowners association or anything like that that was like, you need to make sure your lawn is kept exactly like this. The only regulations we had to make is that the city won't let your grass go over 4 inches because there are snake problems.
Yeah, well, it rained for 5 days straight here in Birmingham, and today was the first sunny day in almost a week. It's insane. Last night was just thunderstorms, just pouring down.
I love thunderstorms.
Oh, after 5 days, I was sick of it. It's like, enough rain.
Never moved to Honduras.
Okay. I know. I felt like I was in Central America somewhere. I was like, what the hell is with this rain? It just won't stop.
My grandparents lived in Honduras for a while because that's where my great-grandmother, I think basically she wanted to die there. So they were there for a few years as she was living out the end of her life. And they would always send me pictures. And it's like, it's a wonderful, beautiful place. Cheap as fuck to live, too. Like, if you're an American that's got nice savings, or if you're like my, I guess I call him my grandpa, but we're not related. If you're like Bill, who would play the stock market and stuff, just minor returns, but he was always making money off of it. Like, you can live like a king down in Honduras. And they kind of did. They had a nice condo down there and stuff, and they'd always send pictures. And it was raining all the time. Anytime they sent a picture, it was raining. Didn't matter like what time of day. Obviously, there were dry times, but it's like just happenstance that 60% of the time that it was raining was always when they had sent a picture.
Yeah. Well, it's not all that
and
fun.
apparently there's a lot of English speakers in Honduras too. Like you should know some Spanish if you were to live down there or even visit for any point in time. But there's plenty of like just communities where you can get by as an English speaker in the area.
Mm-hmm.
Which is becoming more and more common in the world. I think mostly thanks to the internet, since the primary language of the internet is English. For most of the big sites, that there's a lot more people that have picked up some English than before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can imagine. I for some reason, I just can't imagine not living in the United States, but, it's just...
I mean, it'd be nice to live somewhere for like a year, like a temporary move,
Yeah. It's weird. Why did a story about Squid Game pop up when I searched for games news?
Everybody's trying to get me to watch it. And I'm just like not interested.
Yeah. Do you like movies like Saw?
I like some of the Saws.
Yeah. Or what's another? Not Resident Evil. It's kind of a there's a little bit of gore. I mean, it's rated R.
Yeah, it's like it's the general premise that I guess I'm just not really all that interested in.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
that's about it.
I'm not going to press you. I mean, I would say if you're curious at all, just watch the first episode. That'll give you a good idea of whether or not the rest will be interesting to you.
I'm more curious then.
What's that?
So I was on Netflix last night because Dave Chappelle dropped a new special, and I love Dave Chappelle's work. It was called The Closer because it's the last special he's doing. At least for now. He doesn't know if he'll do more, but it's the end of his contract with Netflix where he like was going to do so many specials with them. And he's going to go maybe just do some stand-up tour and not do any like really pristine, fine-tuned specials. which is fine. I think specials, while they're good for a comic's career, are probably bad for comedy as opposed to just touring and changing up your set a lot. You know, like
Yeah, yeah.
the touring is just really good for making you come up with good material.
Hmm.
But as I watched it, it was great. It was a good closer. But on the way looking for, I was looking for things added to Netflix, and apparently something I didn't realize happened. They just added a 2019 like continuation or remake or something of the old Canadian TV show that aired on Nickelodeon, Are You Afraid of the Dark? And I really liked Are You Afraid of the Dark? I thought it was a good, like, mellowed down for kids horror series. And because they
Hmm.
couldn't just, like, do gore or, like, shock horror or anything like that, I thought a lot of the stories were very well written horror because they had to try to find some way to mess with you, like, that to, like, get
Yeah.
your mind turning. And there's only 3 episodes of it, though.
Hmm. Are
So
they
I don't know
adding
if it was
more?
some like special thing that they did in 2019. Hopefully they add more, but I want to watch it
Hmm.
and see if it's like even close to being as good as the original program.
It's still called Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Yeah, it's still just called Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Hmm.
It is
I'll
probably
have
one
to
of my
watch.
favorite shows to ever be on Nickelodeon.
I'll have to watch that right after I watched He-Man Masters of the Universe.
Oh, I saw that on the list too. I'm like,
Yes, see that on there. Like after the last one, I don't know. Although I hear it's better. It's better than
I've heard it was
Revelations.
better from Rick Piper, so I'm gonna take that with a
Oh,
grain of salt.
yeah. All right. Have you watched this show Manifest at all?
No, I'm
Oh
not.
my God. You know, I wanted it to be good. It was good for the first season. It's about an airplane that disappears for like 5 years or something, and then it comes back, like, and the passengers don't have any idea that time has passed. Like they go through a
Okay.
wormhole or something happens, and they land, and everyone thought they were just gone, but they come back, and then they start having revelations, like they can see things in their mind, and then they end up, they kind of become like private investigators. Like
No,
they
okay.
can all they all like have these visions of bad things happening that they can then go and prevent and stuff. And it's like after the first season, it got so old because it's just like the same thing. Oh, we're having a vision. Okay, we solved that
That's
problem.
like
Oh, we're having another
every
vision.
crime scene related show or whatever. It's like,
Yeah,
here's the gimmick. It was cool for the first season. I'm done
yeah.
with it.
Oh my god. And it's like it has these very strong uh religious undertones, I guess, because it just seems like they're getting these visions from God or whatever, and
Oh,
it's
okay.
just like, okay, this is just, which I don't have a problem with, except that it's just cheesy.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
just
Like,
gets to
it's
be
not good
cheesy.
writing.
Yeah,
Is the
it's just like,
problem with it.
again with these visions. It's like, well, that's the whole show. So yeah, again with the visions. So anyway, I like the first season, but after that, I couldn't watch it anymore.
Now, see, I'd be more interested in watching a show called Manifest Destiny. Let's get that going.
Yeah.
Tell everybody when I take over, it's Manifest Destiny 2, baby. Let's go. The sequel.
We've already taken over the
No.
whole
Manifest
country. What
Destiny
more is there to
was
do?
not just supposed to be from side to side. It was supposed to be from top to bottom, too.
Oh, okay. So we're
Yeah.
taking over Canada
Canada
all
was
the way down to
originally
Chile.
part of it. Yeah.
Oh, I see. There you go. Well, I do have to say, and it's sad, as long as we're talking about TV shows and stuff
Yeah.
and streaming. It's a shame that Ted Lasso is on Apple TV, because I just feel like a lot of people aren't going to be able to see it because you have to pay for Apple TV Plus.
Yeah,
And
that's
God,
probably why I'm not seeing it. Well,
yeah, and
I
damn,
could
like,
find a way to see it.
yeah. Well, the last episode of season 2 is drops tomorrow, and I just actually yesterday just watched the second to last. And man, it's so good. It's such a good show. It's one of those comedy shows where the comedy is very subtle. You know, there's no laugh track or anything like that. It's almost like not really a comedy. It's kind of a drama with some comedic elements. But it's so good. I just love all the characters. It's amazing.
I don't know. I'm starting to get turned off because of this guy's opinion of tea.
Oh, yeah? He hates tea.
I'm kidding.
Yeah, absolutely hates tea. It's like, it's just brown water. It's awful. And I agree with him wholeheartedly. I hate tea.
Oh, see, I love tea, but I hate coffee.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, I love coffee, but I can't drink it, I decided. So I moved to my new apartment, and my mom, out of the blue, because I haven't had coffee in like a couple years, and my mom just decided to give me, you know, some K-cups, some Keurig cups of coffee to go with me to the apartment. And so I went ahead and drank them. And as always, after I finished them, I had like a 3-day long headache. It's like,
so is
oh
it
my
like
God.
The level of caffeine, or?
I guess I get immediately addicted, I guess. And as soon as I stop drinking it, I just have like migraine level headache.
Yeah.
And so I've been just like I mean, I think I told you the other day I had a headache and kept taking, that's why. And I've been taking Advil like all day long just so I can function, because it's like debilitating headache.
I don't think people realize this because they think, oh, you know, caffeine bad, soda. Like, no, the problem with soda is not the caffeine content, because soda actually barely has any caffeine compared to other drinks. It's the sugar content. That's the problem with soda. If you want to look at drinks with caffeine, coffee's actually not even number one, but it's like way up there compared to like soda. Some energy drinks have a lot of caffeine. But do you know what the number one like per serving caffeinated drink is?
Nope.
Hot chocolate.
Oh.
Yeah.
Not too surprised, yeah.
Yeah. No, you could get like hot chocolate for kids that have had a lot of the caffeine taken out of it, and that's fine. But if you just get like normal hot chocolate, if you make it the old fashioned way or whatever, and just because like caffeine comes from cocoa beans, or the cacao originally, it's got so much in it that you can easily get a caffeine headache if you're not like adjusted to the amount that gets from it.
Yeah, it's not the caffeine. It's when I stop drinking it.
Yeah,
that's when I get the headaches, and it's
like
crazy because I'm currently out. I need to go to the store, but I usually drink. This is just water, basically.
Yeah.
I usually drink Pepsi all day long, and that doesn't bother me. When I ran out of Pepsi, no problem.
Oh yeah.
But if I drink coffee, it's just like, oh my God, I have to drink it every day, or else I'm just done.
Well, I actually had that argument with somebody before too, because they think, oh, you drink so much Pepsi, you're addicted to caffeine. It's like, no. If anything, it's probably the sugar, because I'm telling you, compared to some of you guys who drink a lot of coffee and stuff, there's not a lot of caffeine in here. I don't even really feel the caffeine from soda. When I drink hot chocolate, or like there's certain teas that are heavily caffeinated, like certain strong black teas. When I drink that, I feel the caffeine. I don't feel it from the soda. It's the sugar. That's why we drink soda. It's almost nothing to do with the caffeine.
Yeah, and even though I drink all diet soda, it tastes sweet, and it actually raises your blood sugar. Yeah. So I think that's like probably what I'm addicted to.
And Mountain Dew has no caffeine in it.
Really?
Yeah, well, if it is, it's so small that it's immeasurable. Those lighter,
that's a lot of sugar though.
A lot of sugar, yes. But those like clearer, lighter sodas, you'll even see it says caffeine free on there. It's just the amount of sugar that's in it. It's the darker sodas that have the caffeine in it.
That's what I always suspected it had a lot of sugar, and that is actually what Peach has to chug. Yeah. She drinks just Mountain Dew, like one of the smaller cans. She'll just chug the whole one if her sugars go low. She has type 1 diabetes.
Funny enough, when you actually look at like the serving size, what was it? This has 43 for an RC. I think Pepsi is like 54 grams, like for like the whole the serving thing. It's actually not that much different. I think Mountain Dew and Pepsi are very close to the same sugar content. I've compared them before. Yeah.
I almost never drink sugar soda.
Yeah.
Occasionally, you know, if I order something from like Uber Eats, I'll get like a Dr. Pepper, but I don't do that very often. So, yeah, the coffee killed me.
If you really need some caffeine to wake you up, go get some hot chocolate. You'll be good. People out there in the audience. I don't recommend it, but you'll be good.
I'll tell you what I should do. I mean, I don't hate it, so I should get some tea for my Keurig. That's like, you know, caffeine free or decaffeinated coffee, I guess.
I mean, green tea is caffeine free. I drink a lot of green tea.
I guess I have the Keurig. I just, you know.
Keurig's good for like chai tea, which chai tea I always tell people it's like if you want a tea that is thick and almost like coffee, right? If you want coffee without coffee, go and drink chai tea. You can add some creamer to it or whatever, and it gives you like that same type of like viscosity that you get from drinking coffee.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll try it and report back.
Yeah. Let's see what else we had to talk about. Oh, so are you familiar with the Arcade 1-Up series of arcade cabinets?
Yes.
Yeah. You worked at a Walmart, but you worked at the market, so they wouldn't have had that there. But you've been to Walmart. Yeah. You probably saw them when you were looking for, what is Brightweiser's comic company?
Oh, Red Rooster?
Well, it's Red Rooster, but like the name of the comics. I'm trying to remember.
Allegiance Arts?
Yeah. It's something like that. It's like Allegiance.
Or Allegiance Comics or something.
Yeah. So like when you were looking for those, you probably saw those cabinets because they're like right there in the gaming section, right?
Yeah.
And they're nice little cabinets. They're cool to have. They're low power. It's not like having a full arcade cabinet in your house.
Yeah, I've been considering getting one, but I'll tell you what, the Ninja Turtles one, it's got like I don't know what version, but it's not the arcade version. And I'm like, no, I would want the arcade version.
I think it's the NES version.
Maybe, is there an SNES? I don't know, but anyway.
I don't know. Yeah.
Anyway, what's going on with it?
Yeah, so they're announcing a new set of them for the holiday season. So before they've been kind of limited. I think there's like 5 different cabinets. They'll have like, depending on what it is, 2 or 3 games in them each. And if you're an adult, you have to get like the Razer stand anyway because they're built for kids.
Yeah.
And the ones that are coming out, they're announcing Tron is one of them. Ridge Racer as well is in this set. There's a Killer Instinct is in there as well. A lot of good ones. I know a lot of people will be excited for Tron, especially because like the only way to really get the Tron experience is to play it on an arcade cabinet. I've played it recently at Free Play within the last couple of years. And they also Battletoad / Double Dragon was mentioned as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So a lot of really good ones in this new lineup. Instead of just like they have Centipede, they have like Galaga and stuff like that. They have a lot of classics, but now they're really busting out like the titles people are looking for. The stuff that you can't really get like the fun experience of playing on like a phone or a computer. Because for Tron, you kind of want like the flight stick control and stuff like that.
And Tron is like 5 mini games in one.
Yeah. So unlike the other ones where it'll be like 2 or 3 games in there, the Tron case is literally just Tron because Tron is a number of different games.
Yeah. Yeah, you start out in the middle and you have to go up, down, left, and right. Each one is a different game, and then I think there's a final stage once you beat all 4 of those.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's awesome.
As everybody knows,
I like the looks of that.
The Light Cycle is the best game.
Of course.
Yeah,
you know,
cabinet.
They also came out with, after that, there was like the Discs of Tron game that was pretty cool, but it was definitely more limited and not as successful because it was only one kind of game.
Yeah, so it's not the original arcade version.
Again with that?
It's the Tron at Home version of the arcade game based on the 1982 Jeff Bridges film. But that version had like updated versions of all of the original games.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I think you'll still get the Tron experience you're looking for. It's got better graphics as well, so that's probably why they chose that version.
Yeah. What a home game for what system though?
I forget. Let me look.
Yeah, I never understand why they can't seem to get. I mean, frankly, if you want to play Tron, you can download the ROM for it and play it on a main system.
Freaking multiple arcade machine emulator.
Yeah. But I don't understand why they can't. Well, I mean, I'm looking at it and it looks like the original to me, frankly.
Yeah. I think it was just like an updated version of it.
Well, it's no.
Oh, this because so with Tron at Home, I'm looking at it. It was actually a device you had to buy, right? It was a handheld electronic game, roughly the size of like a laptop that could sit on a desk. So that's probably why it looks the same. It was just like a version of the arcade game based off the film that you could play at home.
Awesome.
Yeah. So that might be the reason why they're using that version.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
It was by Tomitronic. I remember when Tomy was a company. I don't even know if they're around anymore.
Yeah.
They might be.
Man, can you get the stool with it? Because I'm looking at it, they all have like a stool that has, like Killer Instinct or Tron or whatever on it.
Takara Tomy is still around. Wow. Yeah, you get the stool. So you don't get it with it, right? So the stool.
But you can't order it separately?
Yeah, you can order it or you can buy it at the store. They have like boxes of the stools right there next to it. So you can buy them together. It's not in the package. Because you have to assemble this.
Right.
Yeah. Which is part of the fun, right? It's like you get this narrow box. It's got like all the details, and then you put these plates together. Oh, excuse me.
So you can get these at Walmart.
Yeah, they sell them at Walmart. Well, I don't know if when this one will be at Walmart. It's it'll be available for pre-order October 19th. But yeah, the arcade 1-up stuff you could buy like at Walmart. They just sit right there in the boxes. You assemble it at home. There's actually one in this house. I think it's Centipede. I haven't played it. It's just sitting there in the den.
What?
But I think there's a Centipede here.
Why aren't you playing that right now?
Because I don't ever go out into the den.
You need to be playing that all the time. Actually, I am actually interested in the Miss Pac-Man Galaga one. Yeah, which you see it like at restaurants all the time, like Miss Pac-Man and Galaga on the same.
I've played that one.
Machine.
My local Walmart had that one set up, so I got to test it. Like it feels just like playing at the arcade.
Yeah, and I've played those two games so many times. I feel like I'm really good at it. Probably not compared to some, but
yeah.
Those are always fun. Oh yeah, here we go. Here are the chairs.
Yeah.
Let's see. NBH. Oh.
It's got a big joystick, a spinner.
Oh, there we go.
Buttons. Oh, so the reason that it's got extended controls is because Discs of Tron is also included in this version.
Oh, okay.
I was wondering why it has so many buttons on it.
So it's got two games in one, basically.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, that's exciting. I mean, I'm not as excited about Ridge Racer. I mean,
oh yeah, the Ridge Racer one. The Ridge Racer one comes with a lot. It's got Ridge Racer 2, Rave Racer, Ace Driver, and Ace Driver Victory Lap. I love all of those games.
Wow, I don't think I've played most of those.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And it's got like an outrun style, so it's gonna have like the
yeah, I played Outrun.
Outrun's fun. But it's the way the screen's going to be angled and everything, it's going to be designed for you standing there with the wheel in front of you, and it's going to have the pedals right there at the bottom.
Yeah, that's awesome. Cool. Did you ever play Killer Instinct?
Yes. I never played the arcade version. I had the Super Nintendo version, which was basically the same game. It was a obviously lower pixel port of the arcade version, but it was all the same characters and moves and stuff.
Oh, so this is the one that also comes with Battletoads.
Yeah. So
it comes with KI, Killer Instinct 2, Battletoads Arcade, and Battletoads 8 and 16-bit. Is there Battletoads for SNES?
Yeah. Super Battletoads is what they called it. But it's still just the same game. I had the NES version of Battletoads. That's the one I was used to playing.
Yeah. That's the only one I was aware of.
I loved Battletoads.
Well, that's cool that it comes with...
The SNES one is closer to the arcade game, because they had to kind of like port it down to 8-bit for the NES.
Yeah. Cool. I might have to consider that. Pre-orders open 10/19. I'd probably consider the Tron one.
Yeah, same. Like both the Tron one and the Ridge Racer one really gets me, because it's not just that I like all the games in it, but because it's a cabinet that has the pedals and steering wheel, and these machines are not that different, like the way their memory's stored, than like your freaking NES or SNES Mini, right? They're not actually that much different than having like a Raspberry Pi. You can put anything you want on these if you're willing to mess around with them.
You know, I didn't even realize that the Ms. Pac-Man Galaga one also comes with Dig Dug and Mappy and Galaxian. It comes with like 10 different games. That's awesome.
Yeah, they'll have like 2 or 3 games be the selling point, but then when you turn it on, it's like, oh, there's a lot in here.
Yeah, it lists all of them.
Now, can I order an extra large cabinet that lets me play 6-player X-Men?
Yes. No, wait a minute. On their website, they don't even... Okay, here we go. Here's the TMNT one, I was going to say. But it only has 2 controllers.
Yeah, because they're small cabinets, so you can't actually get the full experience on some of these games. The single-player cabinets are honestly the best ones to get, because for its size, it's like you're just going to get the full experience.
Mm-hmm. I mean, those exist. You'd have to go hunting for them.
Yeah.
If you could find someone that sells them.
I could just go have my friend Adrian, give him a bunch of money and just have him build me a cabinet. But it's going to be a full-size cabinet, so it's going to take the power of like an old arcade machine and everything. And it's like, is it going to be worth it? Is that like $500 to $600 going to be worth it?
I mean, yeah, they do have. You'd have to find a restorer probably. I bet they're on eBay.
And then is the shipping from Florida going to be worth it too?
Yeah, you'd have to figure out how to get it to you.
I know ways of getting it to me. It's just any way it's going to cost a lot. Yeah. Even if it's just disassemble it, throw it in the back seat of a car and drive there, it's still going to be a lot of gas.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, so that was exciting. That's why I wanted to bring that up.
Cool.
Less exciting things that we have. Apparently, I don't want to talk about this long, which is why I'm saving it close to the end of the show. We still have other things to talk about. Remember WandaVision, that show that we were... I was forced to sit through, basically. I enjoyed the beginning, but like the longer it went on, the less and less I'm like, why am I still watching this show? Right?
Mm-hmm.
It's getting a spin-off about Agatha Harkness, as if, like, why? Just why?
just because they thought it was a popular character.
I guess. I don't get, like, they're trying so hard. They're trying so hard with this whole Disney Plus thing, and especially with the MCU. And they're trying to actually, like, I get it. They're trying to make the MCU feel like the comics. It's like, oh, look, if we do all these spin-offs, that's what they do in the comics. Like, I don't think you guys even understand what the problem with the comics are, too. Because if I saw a character like this in, let's say, a comic of WandaVision or something of the same type, and you're like, hey, look, this character is going to get a spin-off. Like, I don't want to read a comic about this character either, let alone watch a TV show. Like, go away.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, all the other Falcon and the Winter Soldier and the, what was the other one? Thunderhawk? What? Hawkwind?
Hawkeye.
What's his name?
I don't
Hawkeye?
Was there a Hawkeye one?
I think.
I don't know.
All
I
those
don't fucking
came
pay
and went,
attention.
and man, I canceled
There's a
Disney
fucking
Plus.
Loki show. I don't give a shit about Loki.
Oh yeah, Loki. That's what it was. I don't care about it. I canceled Disney Plus right after we watched WandaVision. I was like, all right, I'm done with this. I'm not going to pay for this anymore.
Yeah, all sucks.
It all sucks.
All of it.
Sucks. Did you see they're making a new Pinhead reboot?
Oh yeah, Hellraiser, and they finally
Hellraiser.
freaking yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so Hellraiser sucked in the first place. I'll be honest. The first one is actually a fairly good movie, as it is, but like, freaking Pinhead or whatever doesn't even show up until like the last 5 minutes of the film. Barely has any screen time, and he just comes to like take the couple away to hell or whatever, and then the movie's over. Most of the movie is about a bleeding mattress and an undead guy like resurrecting himself or whatever. It's not a bad movie though. Like, if you haven't seen it yet, the first one is worth watching. But after that, the entire series is just a shitfest that gets worse and worse. Like, Hellraiser 2, he actually becomes like the main character that everybody's like expecting to be the main character when they see him on like the cover of the box and stuff. And it's actually more about these like weird, what are they fucking called? They're like video something. I forget the names of like what the character type is. There's like a weird name.
Cenobites?
Yeah, those things, the Cenobites or whatever. Like, it's more about them and actual hell and like somebody going down there and trying to escape them and stuff like. I guess it's an interesting concept. It's just everything about it is executed poorly, and then like by the time you get to like 4 or 5, now they're coming out to like the streets of San Francisco or something in like this hellscape of a world. And it's just dumb and not in a fun way. That's like the whole series that could be wrapped up as dumb and not in a fun way. And now they're rebooting it. And I can't imagine they'll make it any better than it was before, especially with the way people make movies now.
Yeah, I don't have any desire. I think I've seen them maybe bits and pieces, like maybe when they were on
or something like that.
Yeah, it's like I think I've seen some of them.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've seen the first one, or at least not from beginning to end.
Almost all of them are direct to video after number 5.
Yeah, it's so dumb. And now they've cast. You know, what's funny is they cast a trans woman as Pinhead in the new one. But like, from what I've actually been watching what's his name, Weaponized Nerd Rage, talk about it on Twitter, and he's saying is that, well, technically this isn't a reboot of the movie, it's a reboot of this novella, and in the novella he's never really referred to as male, and in fact he's kind of referred to as having female characteristics. And anyway, whatever, I don't care.
I mean, I don't care. He's a monster. Like, you can make him like whatever. That doesn't matter to me. My problem is that the plot is probably going to be shit, just like every single one of the Hellraiser movies.
Yeah, I don't. Who cares if whether or not you think that they gender swapped it or whatever? Who cares? It's Well, what matters is was
Did
going to be a
anybody
good
care
movie.
about Pinhead in the first place? That's the real
No.
question.
I'll tell you what, he's the worst killer in Dead by Daylight.
Yeah.
He's the most, at least I've only seen, I don't think I've ever seen anyone play as him, but I've seen people play as survivors against him, and he is annoying as shit because the chains are coming out all the time, and it's like, oh god.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting concepts with it. Because they're basically like, they're like the denizens of hell, so their whole job is like torturing people and stuff like that, and the chains can just like come down out of nowhere and get people, but it's like, it's a concept. It's not even worth a movie. It's like a TV episode concept. Like you could do it once.
Yeah.
30
I
minutes,
can't understand how do they make so many movies out of a concept that's barely enough for one movie.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Rick and Morty even recently made fun of them with their whole thing. I don't know.
It's so dumb. It's just like an excuse to do some body horror stuff where
I'm fine with
skin
that.
is peeled back and stuff like that. It's like
it came right off of the Cronenberg era. Like he as
Yeah.
soon as he was basically done making stuff, then Hellraiser hit. So it's kind of like a continuation in a way. Except Cronenberg stuff was way better.
Yeah, it's just I've the ones I've watched or the bits and pieces I've watched just wasn't scary at all. It was just like, ew, gross. Okay, next.
Yeah.
Click. Oh well. They can have their Hellraiser.
Yeah, I mean, I don't care. They can have it. It's probably gonna be shit.
Yep.
I don't care who made it. Like, there'd be probably very few people who could take that concept and turn it into something good, and almost none of those people are even making movies anymore.
Yeah. Oh well, I won't be watching it.
Yeah, me neither. Here was a funny thing though. Day zero. People are already modding. We're in like day 2 now, but on day 0, people are already modding Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl.
Oh, really?
And can you guess what they were modding it to do?
Have Sora in it?
No, they were modding it to play like Super Smash Brothers Melee.
Oh, of course.
Like they already like added dash dancing and all this different stuff, and because it already has some things like they have wave dashing was built into the game, which is a Melee thing.
Oh.
So they're like, yeah, let's mod it to basically just be exactly like Melee, but with Nickelodeon characters. I think that's a waste of a mod. To be honest, I think somebody should have been spending time just modding the characters' voices into their moves. That's the mod I want.
Well, are the characters' voices not in there?
No, there's no character voices. It's just like sound effects.
Really?
Yeah. It's
Well,
like the
weird.
biggest complaint about the game.
Oh.
So,
Aren't there character voices in Smash Brothers Ultimate?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's always been character voices since the first Smash game.
Yeah.
Like,
that's very strange.
One of the biggest memes, too, is just Fox going, hiya!
Yeah.
And people taunt, too. Like, Falcon's got the, show me your moves! And stuff like that. So it's like, no, there's voices in Smash. There's just no voices in this game for some reason.
Very strange.
I don't know if it's because they couldn't get a hold of some people or whatever. Maybe they couldn't get, like, some people probably just couldn't even come in. Like, Tim Curry probably couldn't do the voice of Nigel Thornberry. Or if he could, it'd be hard to get him in. Because you know how he is after the stroke, and he spends like half his time in a wheelchair now and stuff. He can do acting, but it takes a lot out of him, and you have to like do really long takes so that he can rest in between. And voice acting is a little different, but it'd be a struggle for him to get to the studio and then do the number of takes they would need for it. But then they could use archive footage. I don't know why they don't just use archive footage and take the audio from it for all the characters.
Surely.
Especially Reptar. Like, it'd be easy to do it for Reptar.
And I mean, you know, there's voice actors out there that do impressions.
Yeah.
That could surely do a close enough job.
Yeah, I don't know why there are no voices in there. Maybe it was a budget thing.
Yeah.
But I would love to see
Wow.
some fans just go and take a bunch of archive footage and then just mod the character voices in there. Because I plan on getting it for the PC anyway when I get it. So I usually play most games vanilla. I will mod that in there though, like because I if I want to play the game, I want to hear the characters making funny sounds instead of just like the entire time. I actually want to hear like Powder Toast Man say stupid things.
It's not even on the. Oh yes, it is. Here we go.
Yeah. Or Ren, especially like I want to play Ren and Stimpy. I want to hear their voices. Which really. If they're one character and they're played by the same voice actor, they could have just had the guy come in. Ren and Stimpy functions like Banjo-Kazooie, so like Ren is on Stimpy's back the entire time.
Is there not a workshop? Sorry. Is there not a workshop?
I don't know.
For them on Steam? How are people getting these mods?
They're probably compiling it the old-fashioned way. And downloading them off of like Reddit or something.
Yeah, I
guess. Or GitHub or wherever the person's hosting the data. So Ren and Stimpy has a really fun move. They have a projectile that goes in an arc and then rolls because they throw log.
Very smart. So what are the actual mods doing?
So this mod is basically just turning it into melee.
Oh, right. Giving them extra moves.
Yeah, giving them more mobility and stuff like that, or giving them crouch canceling, which is a thing in Melee that based on the character's shield weight, because everybody has a shield weight in that game. If you crouch, you can just cancel your momentum up to a certain %. So you can just stop yourself from being launched and stuff like that. And there's a bunch of stuff like that. Melee's a very weird game that you think isn't that weird when you're playing it until you actually play against people who understand how weird the game is, and then you're wondering why you're dying all the time and they aren't. That's pretty much how you can sum up Melee in a nutshell. It's like, why am I dying 4 times in a row and this guy hasn't lost a stock yet?
Yeah. I guess you have to learn the mechanics.
Yeah, what's weird though, it's like it's not straightforward mechanics, right? Like in every Smash game after that, and even the first one, almost all the mechanics were like the opening video of the game can show you the mechanics, like the buttons and stuff. And there are some subtle things that you kind of have to get a feel for, like directional influence and stuff. But aside from that, there's not a lot of weird things you have to learn. Melee had a lot of things, but mostly this thing called L canceling that the game doesn't tell you about. It's just in there. And that also unlocks like 6 other mechanics that branch off of the fact that L canceling is in the game. And then there's a bunch of weird physics things in Melee that the game never tells you about, and people just had to like mine out of the game by playing it for years. And people are still finding stuff about Melee 20 years later. So it's not like one of those games where it's like you just have to learn the mechanics. No, it's one of those games where you have to get into the community because they know way more than you're going to find out unless you spend 20 years playing the game.
Yeah. Well, now people are going to be doing that with Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl.
Hopefully, because they did add a lot of stuff into the game.
Yeah. That's cool. Well, you know what tomorrow is.
Do I know what tomorrow is?
Both the Switch OLED version is coming out tomorrow, as well as Metroid Dread.
Oh yeah, it is Dread. I remember you were talking about like getting the day off and stuff, but I do not in my head have the date of Dread just like put onto a calendar.
Oh man, it's been in my head for months. Been waiting for this for 19 years, man. Metroid Dread. Woo!
I was waiting for it for a while, but all my expectations of that game have completely plummeted.
Yeah.
So I'll watch you play it and see if I make
You're not moved by the fact that to me.
Yeah, that is suspicious, but also that reminds me of like back before the internet was the big review space, and you go and read like every magazine and stuff, just because everything like a 9.8, and like what? How can all of you have the exact same opinion on this game?
Yeah, I looked at all this. So like the review embargo ended yesterday, and all the reviews came out, and it's just like, what's funny is like they have complaints about it, but then they still give it like a 10 out of 10.
Yeah,
it's like
freaking IGN, right?
Yeah.
Too much water in Wind Waker, 9 out of 10.
Yeah. But you know what does give me hope is that I'm sure it's going to be awesome. But what makes it look super awesome is that some of the complaints were that there's too many boss battles, it's too hard, blah blah blah. I'm like,
that's better.
That's great.
Because the last game they worked on with Metroid wasn't hard at all.
Yeah. Well, what Samus Returns?
Yeah, that game was easy.
Yeah. Okay.
So like, I would want this game to be hard, especially after the last one.
Well, apparently it's somewhat difficult, especially for video game reviewers.
Well,
but
that's a very, very low bar for like what is too difficult. Like, you gotta re-listen to that sentence you just said.
I know what I said. I stick with what I said. But interestingly, there was a bunch of copies sent out to Twitch streamers today.
Yeah.
And it seemed like, I think they were limited. They could only play for 90 minutes.
Ooh.
I believe.
That sounds like a Nintendo demo, if you ask me.
Yeah. So I watched several people. I guess for better or for worse, they weren't, spoiling anything because they couldn't get past, the first 90 minutes of the game. Yeah. But I watched a couple people stream it for a while, and it looks pretty awesome. I'm excited. So I gotta finish Fusion tonight.
Yeah, finish it.
I'm going to right after this.
The show's over. We could close it out, and you can go eat something or whatever.
Yeah.
Take a smoke break, and then prepare to finish your thing.
That's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I'm gonna help you out right now. Thank you for watching the show. If you enjoyed the show, please share it with somebody else who might like it. If you really enjoy the show, consider giving a donation to streamlabs.com/Vomitorium live. It really helps us out and pays for the hosting fees, because SoundCloud and freaking Roll20 and all that stuff, combined, it ain't cheap. It's not expensive, but it ain't cheap. So help us out, and we'll see you guys in the next episode.
Bye.